let's talk about the
big
right side of
changes.
history. Going back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was John Brown on the right side of history?
No, I don't think so.
He was.
So he was, in the sense that they wrote history books about him.
Slavery
right?
ended. His
Oh, no,
fight-
that's what I'm saying, in the sense that they wrote history books about him, but going up and shooting someone in the face who was a non-combatant.
You misunderstand.
No, I get what you're saying.
Today,
Yeah.
slavery doesn't exist.
Yeah.
He opposed slavery.
Mm-hmm.
His fight and what he believed in ultimately won.
Yes.
So if you go back in time and say anti-slavery and pro-slavery forces, who will be on the right side of history? John Brown was a psychotic individual who sacrificed his own children and was hanged for treason.
Yeah.
At the time, they said that he was a bad guy. He was a criminal who deserved death.
Yeah.
So these people who today are like, I want to be on the right side of history, supporting the establishment cause does not put you on the right side of history.
Yeah.
John Brown was seen as a criminal and a traitor who was hanged for it, who sacrificed his own children. But 100 years later, with slavery being abolished, they put his picture on casino chips over at Hollywood Charlestown races. They revere him. There's statues and monuments to him, despite the fact, the government killed him for treason.
Well, also because we have no principles. So yes, abolition was a good cause. Slavery was horrific. Today, I believe the equivalent to that is the pro-life movement. I would not say it's acceptable for a pro-lifer to go murder somebody who's had an abortion or an abortion doctor. And the idea that John Brown was justified in doing so is also absurd. I agree with your point, though, that he's on the right side of history, quote unquote, because our establishments have decided that we can do evil, that good might come of it.
But my point is simply this. People today are saying, I want to be on the right side of history. So Taylor Swift, in this video, wants to support what she sees as good thing of the moral majority. But that does not mean you are on the right side of history. It just means you're marching in lockstep with the narrative. And that often is not the right side of history.
Exactly.
And not to mention, like, what people read in history books 100 years from now might be completely different than what any of us are experiencing.
Yeah.
You think about the false information that's spread in media today at the mass scale when we have video cameras to prove what's going on. You really think the crap we're reading about, this happened 1,000 years ago, wasn't some like egotistical king off his head? Like, put that in there.
Well, when people, I remember learning in school. Sorry,
I've got Life magazine. I have like 90% of Life magazine. I went to a bunch of antique stores. I found a whole bunch. I bought a whole bunch. I got the first copy. I have Life magazine from like a month before D-Day, and it shows photos of tanks and armaments in the UK, and it says the US is bolstering the United Kingdom's defenses in preparation for any kind of invasion. That was fake news. Back then, people thought history at the time was the news being told, we have sent defensive armament to the UK. Now what do we know? No, they were preparing an invasion of Europe to push back the Nazis. So when we read a news story today, in 10 years, they might be like, oh, that story was fake. The real thing we did was this. Like, we might learn something about Afghanistan.
Oh, yeah.
The withdrawal that at the time, we're like, Joe Biden abandoned Bagram. For all we know, 10 years from now, it'll be like the terrorists snuck in and planted bombs and he evacuated our troops. And it was never reported because of the security threat to our personnel.
And even,
not that I give him the benefit of the doubt, to be
no,
honest.
exactly. Well, I think usually when we end up with more information about what truly happened, it's much less flattering for those in power, which is why the lie was told in the first place. Look at MK Ultra. Look at Operation Northwoods. I mean, these are just mind-blowing facts of history. If you thought those things happened and the government hadn't openly admitted it, you'd be considered a deranged lunatic. But it's undeniably
what's crazy
factual.
Is that the vibe they put around that persists, though. If you even talk about MK Ultra today, people will be like, funny conspiracy. It's like, no, what are you talking about?
They admitted it.
But I just, it's weird because, growing up, hearing about conspiracy theorists and like the negative stigmas and all that stuff, you could feel that it mattered. That if the media attacked you, like it put you in this negative position. I literally could not care less.
No, not even a little.
So I'm thinking about this the other day when we have Lance on the show, and he said, we were talking about trans kids, and I said, they won't have any sensation. They won't be able to experience sexual sensation of any kind. And he goes, it's really weird. You're obsessed with people's genitals. And I'm just like, bro, you're not going to shame me into not making an argument because I don't care what you think. I have seen what your boos mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you, as this leftist, holds an abhorrent moral position and then tell me I'm weird, I'll be like, bro, there's a lot of things about me you think are weird, and I think you're despicable. You know what I mean? So when it comes to today's day and age, with MK Ultra, John F. Kennedy, bro, I'll sit here right now and be like, oh, we had Ron Paul on the show, and the first thing he says is, our government killed a sitting president, John F. Kennedy. And I'm just like, okay.
Well, and this
you're not going to shame me into not believing. I don't care.
I just want to mention one thing. People are like, Joe Biden is a Catholic president. I'm like, then why hasn't the CIA killed him yet? You know what I mean? Everyone keeps claiming Joe Biden's a devout Catholic. Why is he still alive?
People always, they come up with this idea that, oh, well, if these conspiracies were true, someone would have said something by now. No, they wouldn't. If they were sane, they won't. If they sound sane to the media, they won't, because they want to keep their job. They want to feed their family. They don't want to be outcasted from social groups and potentially, like, I don't know, get in jail time for leaking government secrets, whatever it is. If someone is a bit insane and they're willing to say these things, usually it's because their life has fallen apart and they're like, what do I have left to lose? And then they can be very easily painted as,
they're a lunatic. They couldn't keep their life together.
I mentioned when it comes to any president, I'm like, I bet the first thing that happens when the president gets elected is a guy in a suit shows up and just slides a picture of John F. Kennedy on their desk and doesn't say a word, just stares at him. And they're just like, I get it. Like,
quite frankly.
And then gives him the flat Earth map.
Yeah. The firmament. They show them. They're like, yeah, the going to Mars thing.
Yeah,
we'll hire Michael Bay, but
your first diplomatic mission to Hyperborea.
I mean, I kind of meant that they're threatening the president.
No, I know.
Oh, yeah, they're saying like, don't fall out of line.
Yeah.
But I
thought it was funny for a different reason.
No, they're both funny.
But it is funny, the idea, like, the president gets elected, and then this guy like, all right, so your orientation as president, the Earth is flat. Aliens do exist. JFK, that was us. MK Ultra, yes, exactly what you think it was. Montauk, whew, what a doozy.
No. The way they do it, here's how it's structured. They come in and they're telling about all the conspiracy theories that are true. When the president goes, I have to tell people, then they pull out the JFK one and just set it down on the desk in front of him.
That's a good skit.
It's all about timing.
They're like, he's like, yeah, aliens? No, trust the experts. Yeah, it's all.
It's like he shows them like the Earth, it's flat, and he's like, wow, and he's like, aliens, they're real. My God. And then he's like, the Montauk Project, MK Ultra, and he's like, the American people must know. Well, there's one more, and then he shows up JFK. I have no idea what you're talking about.
No idea what you're talking about. Yeah, no, I trust the expert. There's no evidence these conspiracies.
No, but I don't think that they literally show a picture of JFK to the president, but I think the implication is there.
It's the implication,
right?
I don't, to be honest, and this is, I'm more or less just memeing here. I don't know nearly enough about the JFK situation. What I do know is that the Warren Report was the most widely doubted piece of official government information that's ever been issued, according to surveys. But I don't know enough about the actual situation to make a declaration one way or another. I want to look into it.
No, I agree. I've not done any, like, it's well before my time, all of our time. Wait,
who was the president? Was it Wilson that couldn't walk?
Yeah, FDR.
Yeah, he was. They kept it a secret from the public.
He had polio as a kid, and so he couldn't walk.
And they didn't tell the American public for like how long?
Yeah,
his entire presidency.
No. Yeah. And there was this one president with dementia, and they didn't tell the American people about it for years. Yeah,
America would never do something like that.
Yeah, well, it's just hilarious because Joe Biden, like, they were trying to hide the fact that this man's legs didn't work from us, and we have a president whose brain doesn't work, and everyone can see it. It's just out in the open. And they go, nuh-uh. No, he's got a speech impediment. What? That's not how a speech impediment works. I've met people who stutter. They don't say poor kids are just as bright and talented as white kids. They don't say you can't go to Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent, which is another Joe Biden quote.
No, like my favorite thing he said was, I'm not really Irish because I don't have any relatives in prison and a drinking problem or something.
Yeah, I don't have a drinking problem. None of my relatives are in jail. That's not how a stutter works. That's not a speech impediment. That's just not having a functioning brain.
Yeah. One of my favorite conspiracies right now is that there's this is not Joe Biden, it's Biden.
Biden, I know, I love this one too. There's two.
Well, someone posted a photo and it's Joe Biden from 2014, and his ears and face look very, very different.
We clearly got some kind of work done, or I don't know if it's something as simple as like a facelift or having his eyebrows tweaked, but he does look different. So I understand why people can like theorize.
So
about
like
it.
the little dude, what are these things called in your ear?
The little dudes who live inside his face, and then his face opens, and there's a small person in there. Like
his ear has the floppy part, and then the other picture it doesn't. So like that's not an that doesn't come. You can't do that. Like that's not a surgical thing. They didn't attach his earlobes to the side of his head. You know what I mean?
Maybe they're doing it to mess with you. They attach fake earlobes to throw you off. It's a psyop.
But these are fun too. Like